right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are viewing us. I'm glad that you're watching Afriq 24-hour TV and welcome on board. Of course, we are an online TV that connects you with African stories. We not only give you stories, but we also connect you with African business. We give you some knowledge, innovation, inventions, and of course, we are also full of entertainment and sports. So welcome on board. And if you're joining me for the first time, ensure that you start by subscribing, liking, and sharing our YouTube channel. We are live. And today we are live with Afriq Business. And if you are following us from other channels, like you are live in Mtembei TV, we are live in Afriq TV, we are live in Leo TV, and of course, we're also live in LinkedIn. So ensure that as you're joining me this day, you like the video, share with your friends and your relatives. And also let me know from the comment section where you are joining me from. Of course, I'm your host, Leo Nyabaya, and today I have a special guest. As you can see, I have Mr. George Nduko. George Nduko is an ISO expert, and today we are going to look at integration of ISO into project or organizational management. So before we start, you can see some people already joined and they are really requesting for the link. Alex Media, I'll share the link shortly and you'll be able to join the studio and maybe engage and ask the questions, ask my guests the questions. So before I do that, I'll just take this minute to allow my guest to introduce himself and maybe give us some brief background. So Mr. Nduko, kindly, can you just introduce yourself and provide a brief overview of your expertise in ISO standards and project management, and feel welcomed at Afriq 24-hour TV. Just unmute yourself. Mr. Nduko, can you hear me?
You.
All right, proceed. Thank you.
I was saying thank you very much for this particular opportunity and also for this particular moment which we have been waiting, and most of the people have been asking when is this particular moment, and the moment is now. So basically my name is George Nduko. I'm an ISO expert and also PMP certified with proficient experience in project management. Actually, I've been handling a number of projects around the globe, ranging from Kenya, where I've done a number of projects in terms of capacity building. I've also done a number of projects in Somalia and also Somaliland, also in capacity building. I have also handled a number of projects in West Africa, where I have done Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, and also some projects in Tanzania. So for this particular session that we are having today, we are going to expound more on how we can be able to integrate ISO into organizational management and also project management. To add on the same, actually, I have worked in a number of organizations, ranging from local organizations and also international organizations, where my focus has been on ISO, how we can be able to integrate this particular standard, this particular international organization standard, so that organizations can be able to tap and maximize on their productivity by aligning their processes to various ISO standards. So, Leo, I can proud say I have more than 12 years of working experience and also project management. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I've heard you have more than 12 years of experience. You've worked in West Africa, you've worked with the Kenyan organizations, and you've also worked with some Somalia and the Somaliland organization. That is wonderful, and that is really great because, you know, if you look at the countries like Somalia and Somaliland, they are countries that are in dire need of some experts to help them recover. Did you become involved in the field of ISO standards and project management? How did you find yourself, like now, Mr. George Nduko, you are in the field of ISO standards and project management? How did it happen?
Basically, I can say that this is a passion that I'm encouraging most of the people who are viewing this particular session to amalgamate in their day-to-day activities. So it started when I first stepped into my first employment when I was working in Keroche Breweries as a laboratory analyst. So I developed a passion in these particular standards. I did a lot of self studies and also watched a lot of YouTube channels where my specific area of focus was ISO 9001, which is meant for quality management system. Then I went also to have a look on ISO 22000, 2018, which is a food safety management system. ISO 14001 meant for reviewing the competence of testing and the calibration laboratory. So, in a nutshell, I have a wide experience when it comes to ISO implementation and also ISO application. And also in project management, which I have done masters in project management, and I have been able to integrate different standards that assist me in running day-to-day projects
Okay.
like ISO 9001 quality management system, ISO 31000, which is a risk management system, and also ISO 21500, which is for project management, which I think I will expound as we move on.
Oh, thank you so much. I can see so many people are following and some are requesting that I share the link. Okay, guys, I'll share the link when it reaches the question session so that you can be able to ask the question. But right now, you can use the comment section to engage. If you have a comment, you have a question that you want our expert to respond to, I will allow you to use the comment section so that I'll be able to read them out. So right now, let me allow him to speak so that from that we can be able to know some of the areas that we are interested in. So, Mr. Duko, I just want to know maybe to help me understand ISO standards. What are ISO standards and how do they relate to project management and organizational project management? I remember there are so many people having organizations, whether it is governmental organizations or non-governmental organizations, and people also they are public or the private companies. So what are these ISO standards and how do they relate to project management and organizational project management?
Actually, ISO standards, these are defined methods and the processes that are well documented by international organizations on how to undertake different activities within the organization and also when running a project in order to successfully deliver the expected deliverables and project deliverables and also organizational goals. Uh, Basically, if you want to successfully deliver on the goals of a project and also the goals of an organization, there is need for private and public organizations to integrate these particular standards, which are adopted actually globally as a way of promoting business and also promoting trade across the different, what we call actually transboundary. That when an organization implements ISO standards, that particular organization is recognized the whole globally. So it can be able to transact a business with any organization across the globe with a lot of confidence and also
Okay.
with a lot of easiness because the other
And
organizations
why
believe.
okay, I get you. It helps in integration. So maybe why do you think it is important to maybe to integrate ISO standard into project management practices? Why is it important to do this kind of integration? So what are some of the benefits that those people who've integrated their projects enjoy compared to the ones who've not integrated their projects?
Actually, integrating ISO to organizational management or project management promotes what we call standardization. When running a project, different projects, you need to standardize the processes and the procedures within that project. Equally the same with organization. And also we find that integrating ISO promotes quality management, the level of quality and also the level of risk management improves within that particular organization. So there is need to integrate this, and also there is an element of continuous improvement. ISO promotes efficiency and effectiveness within an organization. It also promotes the level of customer satisfaction that an organization which has integrated ISO has structured its processes in a manner that any product or service that comes from that particular organization is aligned to the satisfaction of its clients.
That is well understood, well understood, well understood. That is great. It gives some satisfaction, and the clients can be able. So, do you mean with this, the clients can be able to access and maybe reach you from wherever they are across
Actually,
the
with
globe?
streamlining the process, organizational or project processes and
Yeah,
also procedures promotes
yeah.
efficiency. And
Okay,
this is according to the technological world where we are currently. Most people want something that they can, some services that they can access, and also
okay.
services that are efficient to deliver on their expectations. So this ISO brings that particular element of efficiency and effectiveness which most clients are looking for. I believe even you, Nyabaya, from where you are, when you
Yes.
order something from maybe KFC, you
Yeah.
expect KFC to respond within the shortest time possible. So
Actually,
if they take long to respond, you will question the level and their processes, and maybe you will develop a negative attitude. But once they respond within the shortest time possible, you will be able to actually appreciate the organization and also their services.
so ISO ensures that there is efficiency and the things are done within the required within the shortest time. I get it, but it's also obvious that anything that is good for you to be able to achieve things that are better, there must be some challenges, there must be some hiccups, there must be some problems that are involved with them. So maybe if I just ask you, I want us to know some of the challenges that are there, and if we can also be able to be told the solutions, because for any challenge there must be a solution. So what challenges do organizations typically face when interacting with the ISO standards into project management, and how can they be addressed? Because you have so many organizations that are using these, have integrated the ISO standards, but they have some challenges. So which kind of challenges do they face, and how can they be able to address these kind of challenges so that things can run smoothly?
Actually, in most of the time, you find that most organizations are willing actually to implement these particular ISO standards, but there is some bottlenecks within the organizations, like now resource allocation. You find that like our local companies or our local organizations, and mostly actually I can say across Africa, most organizations find that allocating resources to the implementation of these ISO standards, because these ISO standards are very elaborate. They need some level of commitment and also some level of resources. So it is a challenge to most of our local and also most so small scale businesses. There is also an element of resistance. You find that most people in organizations or within a project, they are used to a certain way of doing things. But when there is a ISO comes in, because ISO adopts the international way of doing things, most people try to resist to
Okay.
this change which is being brought to the organization. And
Maybe if
to
I
some
may just
extent,
ask you, why do you think people resist these changes? Could it be that the other local ways of operating favor them, or maybe favor some of the activities that they don't want to be unearthed or to be realized when they align to the ISO standards?
Actually, Nyapaya, as a matter of fact, when you, as an organization, you see this, when you are saying that you are implementing ISO, it means you want to implement what best practices that are practiced globally. So
Mhm.
most organizations find it difficult because most of these processes and the procedures, some of them require extensive understanding. So most
Okay.
people don't want to dig deep and get this knowledge necessary to transform them to fit to the international or regional requirements. That is why you find that most of the people within the organization and the project try to resist. Not that the changes are bad. It is
Mhm.
because maybe they want to resist to go and dig deep to understand this international way of doing things. That's why they resist. And also, we
That's
find
great.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
on addition to that, most of these standards are complex in nature. They want some deep reading, deep understanding, and also deep
Mhm.
commitment from both top management, organizational management, and also the staff. So you find that to some extent it becomes a problem for most people to actually understand the applicability of these standards. But we have some solutions. We have some
Yeah.
solutions to these problems. Actually, if top management can be able to commit some resources and also conduct some trainings and awareness within the staff, and
Mhm.
also um, and also try to bring all people on board so that they are well trained, they get used to these standards so that it is easy for them to be able to implement and also adopt those international way of doing things.
I get you. Maybe if I may ask you, can you be able to share some examples of successful strategies or solutions that have been used to overcome challenges related to ISO integration in project management? So, just examples of strategies that have been successful, the ones that have been used and they've succeeded in managing these kind of things, in overcoming the challenges. I mean.
Actually, the first thing is to identify and also to incorporate, to bring all people on board to understand the essence of these standards in projects and in organizational management. So once you
Mhm.
make people understand as an organization or as a project that this is the direction we are taking in terms of implementing or adopting the ISO way of doing things. So once the people understand that this is what we are planning to implement, then from there you train them. You train the people on the various standards, ISO standards that you need to implement. Then from there, it will be very easy for that particular organization to be able
Mhm.
to implement these ISO standards with a lot of easiness and minimizing most of these bottlenecks that are brought about by trying to adopt the ISO standards.
Oh, that is good. That is good. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are having George Nduko, who is a PMP and ISO expert. He's just trying to take us through why it is important to maintain these ISO standards, the benefits, some of the challenges that are experienced, and some of the solutions that are there. So remember that you are watching Afriq 24 Hour, and this is Afriq Business. We are connecting you with experts from Africa so that they can be able to tell you those things that are needed to ensure that you thrive in your business. So keep it here as we take a 30-second break, then we will proceed to the next step. This is Afriq 24-hour TV, and if you've not subscribed to our channels, ensure that you subscribe to Afriq 24-hour TV on our YouTube channel. That is the only way that you can be able to support this program as we keep on connecting you with African stories. All right, welcome back. Take your seat. If you're joining me now, today we are just looking at integration of ISO into project and organizational management. And with me is George Duko, who is an PMP and ISO expert. So, George, I just want to know this. We've already known and understood this, understood the ISO standards. I just want you to tell us what are some of the benefits of these ISO integration? What are the potential benefits of integrating ISO standards into our project management practices for organizations? There are many people who are watching you, and I know they're having organizations, and they are really interested in knowing what will be the benefits of integrating their organizations to the ISO standards. Some of them have just been seeing this thing. For example, there's some products when you buy them, they've written the ISO, something like that. But it's good. You've now expounded, and people now understand what these standards are, what they mean. Now, what they want to know is how important or how useful is it to their organizations? Why do I have to integrate these ISO standards in my project management practice?
I must say that the world has just become a group of village, and you understand that we are doing business to any part of the world. So if you want to have a seamless business into any part of the world, more so, the requirements for ISO are becoming more prominent in every corner of the world. So most organizations want to carry out their business or to trade locally, regionally, and globally. And it is a common practice which is aligned to the sustainable development goals that we need to adopt best practices that enable us to produce products and services that are environmental friendly, that are safe, and that also meet the quality of the customer. So aligning an organization or a project to ISO has a number of benefits because an organization which is going to align their processes and procedures to ISO requirements actually is going to conduct business globally with like-minded or organizations which prefer high level of best practices that are employed within an organization. So that organization, most of those organizations that are actually uh, implement ISO, they are also likely to shade themselves from various risks because ISO
Mm.
31000 also incorporates risk management. There is also an element of improving on their services through streamlining their processes to promote efficiency and effectiveness. And also, there is also an anticipation of producing high quality products. And this comes as a result of training their people understanding their
Yeah,
processes, and also making their processes
I get you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think you're back. We are trying to understand. I'm sorry for the problem that has just occurred, but my guest will be back shortly. So what you're trying to understand is here is the integration of ISO into project and organizational management. So you remember that for those people who are joining for the first time, of the people who don't understand, ISO standards are those essential for business to maintain quality, safety, and credibility in the global market. So by following these standards, you'll find that the businesses can enhance their operation and ensure that their products and services meet international standards, leading to long-term success and growth. Even those people like in our country, people who are saying that they want to start growing macadamia, the ones who want to start growing avocado, the ones who want to start growing, I don't know, the groundnuts and the sunflowers. For you to be able to sell your flowers or any of your product globally, you have to follow the ISO standards. So these standards need to be integrated in your organizational management so that anything that you do it efficiently and you do it within the required standard. So I was hosting Mr. George Nduko. George Nduko is an expert. He is an ISO expert. He worked in with different organizations across Africa, and he also worked within the country. He worked in West Africa. He's been in Somalia. He's been in Somaliland. He also worked with organizations that are found within Nairobi, that is within our country, Kenya. Apart from that, George Nduko is also a founder of a company that is called GeoSafe. GeoSafe is a research and GeoSafe is a research and a business consultancy. So George Nduko is also the founder and the CEO of GeoSafe, which is a research and business consultancy company. He does some consultation, he does some research, he also involves in other services that includes, I've said, research and development, training and auditing, that is the ISO, project management, environmental monitoring, things like strategic planning, marketing and branding, and also fumigation and cleaning. So all these kind of things, that when you want such kind of services, you can get in touch and George Nduko will help you. So George, sorry for the interruption that happened. They do happen, you know, our internet is not that strong, it keeps on fluctuating. So can you just proceed and explain to us how can ISO integration contribute to improved project outcomes, efficiency, and overall organizational performance? Because we've just realized that by following these standards, your business can enhance the operations and ensure that their products and services meet international standards. And this will lead to long-term success and growth. So how can this one happen?
Actually, I need to encourage those people who are viewing this particular session to understand that for you to be able to be an effective project manager, you need to integrate the skill of project management with ISO training or ISO skills, because
Yeah.
when you are running a project, actually you need to understand that a project is meant to deliver some goals, and those
Mhm.
goals are aligned to the requirement of the standard. For example, quality. If you integrate ISO into a project, you are likely to deliver on quality and also on the scope of the project and also on the goals of the project. Because once you start a project, you need to define what is the scope of this particular project, what is the risks that are likely to affect my project,
Okay.
how is my customer going to review the products or the services that I'm going to deliver to that particular customer. So all these things are actually amalgamated in ISO. How do you make your customer get satisfied from the
Yeah.
quality of the product or service? So actually, uh, ISO is more relevant, more so for those people who want to understand how different ISO standards relate to project management. You need to go and look at ISO 31000, which talks about risk management. How are you going
Okay.
to manage the risks within a project? Because if you don't run a project well, that project is likely to fail if you don't manage the various risks well. And these risks actually might come from internal within the organization. Maybe the organization is not providing resources. That is a risk that can make a project fail. Maybe it can come from external. We have external sources of risks, which you can be able to conduct a pestel analysis to identify the various external factors that can affect the project, what we call project environment, external environment. And that external environment includes even the economic factors. Like now, we have the inflation in our country and also the fluctuation of the dollar in the country. So how are these things going to affect your project? You also need to understand ISO 21500, which talks about the frameworks that you need to lay down as a project manager for you to be able to manage a project successfully and also deliver within the expected timelines and also the expected quality by the customer.
I get you clearly, and maybe another question that somebody might be able to ask. I can see people also in the comment section. Joseph Omondi, karibu sana. Richard Relay, I saw Judith Anyango is there already. LX Media, Caleb Ndolo is also with us there, and who else? LX Media already. I've seen you. Keep it here, and of course, all the way from. Sierra Leone, we have somebody called Abdul Agento Koroma. So they are really following and they are really following and they really want to get the maximum out of what is happening. So maybe if I may ask you, what steps are involved in effectively maybe integrating ISO standards into project management within an organization? You know, after you've known the benefits, you have to know how do I implement it. Yeah, our people have already known what ISO is. They've seen the challenges and the solution to the challenges, meaning if they integrate this, they can be able to identify the challenges and give a solution to the challenges. Now the question that people will want to know is, what is the implementation process? How do they implement it? What steps are involved to effectively integrate ISO standards into project management within your organization?
Basically, the first things first, as we actually say, and the
Yeah,
first thing is to understand as an organization or as a project, you need
yeah,
to understand what are the ISO standards that are relevant to your business. Are
okay.
you after maybe ISO 9001, which is about quality management system, which I find that most organizations actually prefer going for ISO 9001 for quality
Hmm.
management system as an umbrella standard.
Okay.
So they need an organization or a project team needs to understand what is the relevant standard that we need to implement or adopt so that we can be able to deliver on our strategy. So, the first step is to understand the standard. Then the second step is to conduct gap analysis. You try to benchmark yourself with the standard. What do we have currently as an organization or as a project team? That is, you try to identify the bottlenecks within your processes and also within your procedures. So once you do that, that's what we call gap analysis. Then you develop a plan, a robust plan
Hmm.
that you will be able to follow in implementing whatever you are going to
I get
to implement. Then from there, you need to actually to train your team. You need
you.
to train your team
Uh-huh.
uh, in the particular standard, because if you don't train your team, the level of implementation or the easiness of implementation is going to be affected. So that
Yeah.
is actually the fourth step. Then you need to customize what are we bringing on board, what functionalities within the organization, what functionalities within the project that we are going to bring on board to comply with the ISO requirements. Then you also need to look at how are we going to monitor our processes so that they are compliant with what we are going to implement. So you need to have a strong team. You need to
Hmm.
have pressings from top management and also pressings from the sponsor, because in a project we talk of sponsors and donors. Those are
Yeah.
the people who provide the resources, and those resources, they want to see that they are utilized in an effective manner so that the project can be able to deliver on its goals and objectives.
Okay, you've talked of some best practices, and we know there's some in project management or organizational management. There's best practices. So, can you be able maybe to provide some insights into the best practices or some methodologies for implementing ISO standards in a project management? So, which practices or which methods can be used?
Actually, I have highlighted some of the steps which
Yeah.
includes the methods where first you need to understand the standard. Then from
Okay.
there, you need to do gap analysis. Then from
Okay.
there, you need to train your people and also actually define your scope. As an organization, you need to define your scope. What are we bringing to the, what are we bringing to the, to comply with the requirements of ISO? Then from there, you have what we call how are you going to monitor the sustainability of the implementation of this particular standard that you are implementing. Then from there, you need to conduct what we call regular audits. These regular audits try to unveil the gaps within the system or the system or the activities in an organization or in a project. All these processes are geared towards making the organization run its activities in a more efficient and effective way, and also for on the project perspective, it is making this project to deliver as per the expectations of the client, and also for the expectations of the donors and the sponsors.
Thank you. I think that is clear. And maybe just to remind our viewers that today we are looking at how to integrate ISO into project and organizational management. And with me is George Nduko, PMP and ISO expert. I hope you are enjoying. I hope you are learning. And if I would advise you, just take a book and a paper so that you can note these things down. If you are planning to have an organization, or if you're having an organization, these are some of the insights that are going to help you be successful and that are also going to help you trade across the globe. And if you are wondering, this is Afriq 24 hour. And today we are having Afriq Business. Of course, we have some other programs that comes on your screen on a daily basis, like on Friday. This Friday, don't miss our Bed of Roses. This is a program that I know most of you will always wait to watch. So as I take a short break, we will continue from there.
Join us every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a captivating journey into the world of love, relationships, and romance. Presented by the dynamic trio Maggie Knox, MC Jesse, and Annie Waweru. Bed of Roses promises to be your weekly dose of heartwarming stories, insightful discussions, and expert advice on matters of the heart. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or simply love a good love story, this is the show for you. Don't miss out on the chance to unwind and indulge in the joys and challenges of love, all brought to you by our talented hosts. Tune into Afriq 24 every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and let us guide you through the enchanting world of Bed of Roses. Subscribe now and mark your calendars. You don't want to miss this. See you there.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad that you're still watching, you're enjoying, you're following, and at least you are learning something. I'm having an expert, and he's taking us through integration of ISO into project and organizational management. So, Mr. George, if maybe you just enlighten us something on training and awareness. Remember, some of these things are things that are new in organizations. There's some organizations that are going to be implementing them for the first time. There's some organizations that have been implementing them, but they are not used to it. So, how important is it to ensure that you keep on training and maybe creating some awareness on of ISO standards among the project managers and team managers? Remember, if you're having an organization, you're not going to have the same managers forever. You keep on changing your staff, you keep on getting new managers as you grow. And some of these managers are not aware of these standards. So, how important is it to keep on training and raising awareness? And maybe if you dig deep, you can also tell us which kind of strategies that an organization can use to ensure that the project stakeholders are adequately trained and they are aware of the ISO standards that are relevant to their roles.
Um, Basically, as I told you that the business environment is actually changing in a rapid speed, and
Yeah.
most organizations need to train their staff. Actually, in our day-to-day activities, when we are training, we are conducting various trainings in various organizations. We advise organization that it is better or it is good to upscale the skill level of your employees. So
Yeah.
once an organization or a project manager identifies a team, or an organization identifies a team that is driving the strategies of that particular organization, they
Yeah.
need to actually advance the skill level of those staff so that they can be able to align the organization to its vision and mission. And this comes in as a result of constantly training their staff. A pool of trained staff will actually be able to implement the standard easily, and
I'm losing. Yeah. Continue.
well trained on the requirements of the standard, most of them will find it difficult actually to implement the standard. Training staff an element of consistency, where most of staff actually are able they are able to provide or to produce products that are consistent. They are able to structure processes and the procedures within the organization and also within the
Yeah.
project, so that they are producing consistent services and also consistent products. And actually, consistency and the continuous improvement is what most customers are looking for. They are
I get you.
so this particular training will also enable the staff to be able to identify what are the changing world, what are the risks that can be able to affect our operations, what are the quality requirements, how can we be able to improve or continuously improve our processes and the product so that they are competitive, because there is a lot of competition. If you look at what is happening all over the world, there is a lot of competition when it comes to products. Most of the products are coming from different parts of the country, and
Yeah.
if we cannot be able to upscale or produce high quality products, then we are not going to access the local, the regional, and the global market. So we need to train our people so that they can be able to have a global perspective on the
Yeah.
products and services that they are providing for their customers. And actually, the next question that you asked about, what are the strategies?
Yeah, what are the
As some
strategies? Yeah. What are some of the
as
strategies that organizations can use to ensure that these project stakeholders are adequately trained? You know, when you talk of training, there are so many, or there are so different ways of training people. So which ones are so strategic, or which ones are so effective that when organizations use, for sure, people will really understand and get trained well?
Actually, most of the time when we are also training people on strategic planning, we
Yeah.
actually tell them that if you want to be a market leader, maybe in the next 5 years or in
Yeah.
the next 10 years, you need to adopt what we call the theory of change. And the theory of change talks about you see the future now, what you need. If you are an organization and you want to be the market leader, you need to see yourself now as a market leader. Then once you understand the requirements or what will take you to be the market leader, then it is easy for you to be able to align your staff. And now aligning your staff needs a lot of capacity building, and this comes from developing training programs, actually taking your staff to various workshops. You also make your staff understand what are the other certification programs that are available. And also you as an organization or as a project manager, ensure your people continuously learn or get new knowledge on a day-to-day basis. And also you as a you recognize an organization should be able to recognize, or a project manager should be able to recognize those people who are putting extra effort in order to align their processes and their activities to the organizational strategy. So basically, that is what the organizations and the project managers should be able to divine and also to put in place for them to implement those strategies that will promote an organization and a project from achieving its strategy.
That is really good, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching, I hope you are getting something. Mr. Ndukov just told us how we can strategically, the strategic ways that we can use in ensuring that we do some training and awareness. So maybe, George, a last question still on training and awareness. Is it the managerial or maybe the project managers who are supposed to be trained and maybe awareness be made aware of this ISO standards, or should we also extend this one to the clients or the consumers? You know, we are the consumers, and most of the consumers, we just see some of the products are written ISO and with the number there, but most people don't understand what these things mean. can can't we extend this kind of training or this awareness to the consumers too?
Actually, that is the talk which is currently most experts are actually holding those talks, that even the consumers, and if you look at most of the customers currently as we are talking, I have worked in different organizations which have implemented different ISO standards. Most of the clients are now understanding this ISO aspect through reading, through doing a lot of research, and also through awareness trainings that are conducted by either manufacturers or suppliers or even contractors. So it is this also should be able to be extended to the customers or the consumers. They need to understand that if, for example, they need a safe product, if they need a quality product, if they should be able to give priority to those organizations that are actually ISO compliant. And to actually also elaborate on a concept, I need also to put into perspective that even those guys who are working in different organizations, they need to take a deliberate step actually to acquire this particular knowledge, because I understand most of the people who are watching this particular show, they can be able to attest that currently every organization is trying to align itself to ISO. And if you want to actually work in an organization that is aligned to ISO, you also need
You
to
must
align
be
yourself.
to ISO, and you must be have some knowledge. You might have some knowledge in ISO for you to be able to, like right now, if somebody is employing a project manager, they will ask you, what is your knowledge? How far, or how do you know ISO? How do you interact with ISO? So if you are not having any information about it, then you're not likely to be recruited.
Actually, that is the point. Not only recruitment. You see, we are looking at sustainability. How are you going to
Yeah,
assist this particular organization? For example, if it is an hotel industry, under
yeah,
hotel industry, under food safety management system, they are looking for somebody who understands ISO 22000, because if you understand ISO 22000, there is a likelihood that you are going to actually put into practice the best practices of handling food within that particular organization. And for anybody who wants to rise within the organization or to be an effective project manager, they need
yeah.
this particular basic knowledge that will propel them to and their organizations to their strategy and also to deliver on the projects that they are actually managing.
Thank you. That is really nice. And maybe there's also this thing, you have to be compliance. You have to comply. And there's the issue of auditing. Each and every organization at the end of the year, at the end of the financial year, there must be some audit of your books by certified public accountants or maybe certified auditors, so that they can be able to know if you people are really making profit or making losses. So how do organizations ensure they comply with ISO standards throughout the project life cycle? And specifically, these non-governmental organizations, that they're having projects that maybe some take up to 4 years, some up to 5 years, some up to 7 or up to 10 years. They're long-term projects. So how do these organizations ensure they comply with ISO throughout the project cycle? Remember, in the process of the project, some managers that are going to be fired, there are some that are going to be hired, there's going to be change in roles and such kind of things. So how do they manage to comply?
Actually, to be honest, when you are running an organization and also when you are running a project, these are the things that have predefined objectives. And if you want to achieve those objectives, you need to continuously assess your processes and your procedures. So continuous review and assessment of compliance to the ISO requirements is very key. And this continuous assessment and review is carried out when there is external or internal audits that are carried out at regular intervals. So as a
Mhm.
project manager, you need to continuously assess the compliance of the project to the
I get you.
requirements of the requirements and also to the plan. Because before you initiate any project, as a project manager, you need to have a plan. And this plan addresses on how you are going to handle risks, on how you are
Mhm.
going to handle quality, on how you are going to handle the scope, on how you are going to handle the schedule, and also on how you are going to engage the members within that project. So before you start a project, you need to define the criteria of managing that particular project. The same applies to the organization. Organizations have laid down procedures and also processes actually that take a lot of resources for them to be in place. So for them to be able to check their compliance, what they need to do is to actually review regularly at a
Okay.
particular interval to check their level of compliance. That is when they can be able to know up to what extent are they complying with the requirements of the standard, up to what extent are they actually complying with to the requirements of their plan. So regular review and internal audits and also external assessments assists
Mhm.
organizations and project managers to know the level of their compliance to the requirements of the standard.
So that is great. You say that the regular audits are the ones that will always assist you in knowing the level, the standards of what you're doing. So, in other words, that is the role that audits and assessments play in evaluating the implementation of ISO standards. So, how frequently should these assessments be done, and audits? How frequently should the audits and assessments be done?
Actually, like the way you said that we have financial audits. The
Yeah.
same applies to ISO audits. In most
Okay.
organizations, most of the organizations which I have actually assisted in implementing these particular standards, most of them I have advised them that you need to regularly review either during your management review meeting, which they conduct actually on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, all to
Yeah.
an extent to some other because of also the strenuous nature of internal audits. We need to have regular reviews to discuss the level of compliance, but brand audits should be carried out either on a quarterly basis or on a
Okay.
biannual basis. A biannual basis, which will assist the organization to know where they are heading in terms of standard compliance.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. And before I allow you to maybe to take a cup of water, maybe you can just tell us something about continuous improvement. You know, when you do something for the first time, it should always be improving with time as you continue implementing and integrating this ISO uh, 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 into your organizational management. You'll find that it keeps on improving. So, how can organizations promote continuous improvement in project management, like these practices based on ISO standards? How can they ensure that it keeps on improving rather than we try to implement and integrate, then after 2 years we found ourselves back to square one? So what should organizations do to ensure that this thing keeps on improving until it gets better?
Actually, we keep Nyabaya. Maybe I can be able to bring this into perspective so that those people who are watching us keenly can be able to actually get this particular concept on
And
a
maybe,
day-to-day.
sorry for interrupting you. Before maybe you respond to that, there's a question from Justice Amenya. Justice Amenya is asking: is ISO undertaken as a source, as a course, or on job training based on the task involved? I think it will be good if you respond to this. He's asking: do you take this ISO as a course, or it is something that you learn on job during those trainings that are based on the task that you've been given?
Actually, I can say that either way, it is applicable. First, you can take it as a course depending
Okay.
on the trajectory that you are planning to undertake as an individual. What
Okay.
is your plan as an individual? Because you can take it as a course with an intent of aiming either to be an auditor or to be a trainer or to be an implementer.
Okay.
Secondly, you can do it
Yeah.
on job based on the job requirement.
Yeah.
Because if you are working in an organization and there is
Yeah.
that particular training on quality management system, and the organization decides that at this particular moment in time we are going to implement ISO 9001, then at
Yeah.
that particular moment you are obligated actually to undertake that particular standard which you have been which has actually been which is being championed by that particular organization. So it is a two-way perspective. You can take it as a course, or you can
Okay.
take it in order to meet the organizational strategy, depending on where the organization is planning itself to go in the next 5 years or in the next
Thank,
10 years. So it's a
thank,
two-way perspective.
thank you. Thank you so much. You can just take a glass of water. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Afriq 24-hour TV. If you've not subscribed to our channels, kindly go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, and ensure that you turn on the notification bell, so that whenever we are having a program that suits you, you will be able to be notified. We are having several programs that range from live political talks. We are having football or sports analysis. We are having uh, relationship shows, and of course, you're also having business and the newspaper update. So today we are looking at integration of ISO into project and organizational management. And with me is George Nduko, who is a PMP and ISO expert. And remember that George Nduko is also the founder and the director of a company called GeoSafe. GeoSafe is a company that deals in research and development, training and auditing of ISO, project management, environmental monitoring, strategic planning, marketing and branding, fumigation and cleaning, and many other services that you will want. And later on, I'll be able to share contacts of George Nduko, so that whenever you have any question concerning ISO, you need some training, you need some auditing, and any other services that he is providing, you'll be able to reach him. I can see people are commenting. Angela Sidani, karibu sana. I can see you are following, and maybe you're having an organization or you're planning to have one. This kind of information that you're getting from George Nduko is important, because it will help you align with the global standards that are acceptable, the practices that are acceptable, that will ensure your business is fast, efficient, and accurate. Rogers Nyamai is also following, just as a many. Of course, your question has been responded to. I can see Mary Masuko, Ruth Apondi, Hannington Rono is also following, Joseph Omondi, Richard Riley, and of course, the rest who started following us at the beginning of this show. We are already at 1 hour. We were supposed to take only 1 hour, but because there are so many questions that are being asked, there are so many questions that have not been responded to, I'll allow us to take some other 5 minutes so that George can be able to respond to these questions. So, George, before we took a water break, I was asking you some of the, I wanted you to share some examples of how feedback from ISO audits or assessments has been used to enhance project management processes. Maybe you can use examples so that our viewers can be able to understand better.
Actually, in a project management perspective is a complex and a structured kind of undertaking that anybody who is aspiring to manage either small project or a big project to have this understanding. A project is undertaking that has unique as the beginning and also the end, and also clients expect something out of that particular project which is aligned to their strategy. So actually, you need to reason more to your client when you are undertaking a project. You need to reason more to your client, because you find that in most of the time when we are undertaking projects, we divide them into phases, and every phase you work with your client or
Okay.
all the other relevant stakeholders. You involve them, you keep on informing them on the progress that you are making, so that they can be able to actually give you a go ahead. So
Okay.
if you don't seek their input, if you don't seek their feedback, more so in terms of updates, more so in terms of communication, more so in terms of resources usage, actually you might find a problem in executing a project. So customer feedback or donor feedback, sponsor feedback, and also the primary stakeholders in a project is very, very key for the success of any project. So all the time, as a project manager or as an organizational manager, you need to involve the other people, either the top management or the project team members, so that you can get their feedback. You can know the areas that you need to improve, the areas that you need to work on, the areas that you need to optimize, so that you can be able to realize the project deliverables. So feedback from all perspectives is very, very key for you to be able to continuously improve, and also for you to be able to deliver on the project the targets and project goals.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that is clear. That is clear, ladies and gentlemen. At least we are learning something. Somebody somewhere is learning something. I can see Angela is saying that okay, she is here on the comment section to learn something new. So I know everything that happens. We know the world keeps on changing. Things keep on improving. Things keep on getting better. Some even get faced off. So if you look at the future trends and outlook, how do you see the role of ISO standards evolving in organizational project management in the future? How do you see it? And are there any emerging trends or developments related to ISO integration in project management that organizations should be aware of? There are normally some trends, there are normally some changes. There are things that happen that people should be aware of. So, how do you see this role in the near future? And are there any trends that people should be aware and get prepared of?
Actually, respond to your particular question, I need to tell you that currently we are actually working towards sustainable development goals, and most of them we have an emerging trend where we have climate change. climate change is a global challenge where everybody actually is focusing on. You know the consequences of the changes that we have experienced from the changes in global warming. So actually, if we can be able to sustainably manage our environment, which is guided by ISO 14001, which talks about environmental management system, we can be able to comply to the requirement, to the international requirements, so that we can be able to manage our environment in a manner that can be friendly to us and also to the future generation. And to some extent, nowadays, you find that most of the customers, they want, when you want to do business with them, most of them, they will ask you for those policies. For those people who are doing tendering, for those people who are doing with business with these NGOs and also the UN, the likes of United Nations, the likes of WFP, most of them, when you want to do business with them, they will ask you most of these policies, environmental management policy, which is very, very key in order in actually promoting a sustainable environment for the future generations. So there is a lot of emerging issues when it comes to integrating standards in our day-to-day activities as project managers and also as an organizations, for us to be able to do business in a more sustainable, secure, and a safe way, globally, regionally, and also locally.
Thank you so much, George. That is well explained, and maybe just a final one. I just need to get your final thoughts. Maybe do you have any final thoughts or recommendation that you can give to organizations who are looking to integrate ISO standards into their project management practices? I know there are people who are watching you now, and there are ones who are still going to watch this feed because it will be on Facebook, it will be on YouTube, and it's also going to be found in the LinkedIn. So there are people who are going to watch, and there are people who will really want to get your final thought, your recommendation. They've not yet integrated ISO in their projects or in their organizational management program, and they will really want to do so. So do you have any recommendation that you can give to them?
Actually, I can encourage most of not only organizations but even individuals. If you want to explore into the world of project management, if you also want to be part of organizational management strategic team, you need to align yourself in a manner that you understand the various applicable ISO standards that guide a project to its effective delivery or successive delivery. The same thing applies to organizations. So I'm reaching out to everybody who is aspiring. Either you finished college the other day, either you are in the start of your career, either you are stuck maybe in the middle of your career in a particular organization, or you are an organization that has been struggling with your processes, your procedures, a lot of complaints, and also a lot of your business, your business is going down. So you need to align your business, your organization, to the global requirements so that you can be able to trade locally, regionally, and also globally. So this is the time that you need to step up your operations. This is the time you need to streamline your processes and the procedures. This is the time you need that spark that can transform your organization, that can transform your business from a global perspective. So actually, we come in as an organization. We assist most of these organizations. We even train individuals, even those people who want to advance their ISO skills in whatever field of ISO. We are there to assist you to actually achieve that particular desire of becoming an ISO expert, so that you can deliver value to your organization and also deliver value to any project that you are undertaking on any leadership role. Actually, we don't only focus on ISO.
Yeah.
Maybe, Mr. Nyabaya, I want to bring this into perspective. We
Yes.
assist
Go
you
ahead, please. Yeah.
as experts. We assist you to optimize, and also we mentor and coach you to undertake your roles in a more structured way for you to be able to deliver. And also, we assist your organization to align its processes and the procedures in a manner that to meet the international requirements and also the ISO requirements. You can reach us through
Thank
the numbers in
Thank you. Thank
actually.
you. I know there are people who are asking. There are so many people asking about training, and I've also informed them that George does training. That is why I told you he's having a company called Joseph, which does the research and development and training and auditing on ISO. So if you're interested, maybe you want to align yourself with these organizational opportunities, and you want to know and learn more about ISO, you can reach out the numbers that are on the screen there, so that he can be able to direct you on how to do it. Apart from that, you want to do some research and development, you can also reach George. You want some project management, you want some environmental monitoring, strategic planning for those people who are having organizations, you want some 5-year strategic plan or a 10-year strategic plan, marketing and branding. Of course, you're having some products, you want them to be marketed. Those people who also want their offices and their homes fumigated or cleaned, you can reach out to George so that he can be able to sort you out. So, George, I'm really grateful for you taking your time to have this interview with you. It's not easy taking more than your hour. I know, despite having a busy schedule, you spend some time to come and educate people for free so that they can be able to know some of the things that are required as far as project management and organizational management is concerned. I really appreciate you and welcome you to Afriq. Anytime you are free, anytime you have time and you feel you have something that you want to share with our viewers, you are most welcomed. And to my viewers or our viewers, I also have to appreciate you for taking time to watch, to follow, and even to ask questions on this. And if you missed this show, I have to assure you that the show will be available on the YouTube. So if you go to Afriq 24 Hour on the YouTube channel, you will be able to find the show. And if there's something that passed you didn't get it clearly, just take your time, go to YouTube, and you'll watch it at your own pace. You can even put slow motion so that you can be able to get each and everything that was said. And if you have questions, the number are on the screen, so you can just call at any time so that you can get sorted. But don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So, George, I'll just give you a minute just to say your final remark to our viewers as we wind up the show.
Thank you very much. I need to appreciate also your time that you have taken to conduct this particular interview. I must also appreciate the opportunity that you have given me to actually highlight some of the key concepts that most of the people need to master in running their organizations and also running their projects. I also appreciate all the viewers, those who have taken their time actually to watch and also to listen to this particular conversation, which actually we have gone deeper to elaborate on most of the issues. And I must say thank you to all of them, and I count on their support. And also, I'm expecting to hear from them in the areas of their need. I'm free. I can be able to assist where I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate. And to our viewers, this was Afriq 24-hour TV. So if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, ensure you do so. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share with your friends and relatives. From this side, I have to say thank you. I was your host, Leo Nyabaya, and today my guest was George Nduko, who is a PMP and ISO expert. I hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time.